This video aims to discuss quality review and moderation approaches for when assessments are marked or graded by more than one person. The use of multiple markers can either be to try and ensure consistency and to reduce bias in marking individual assessment submissions, or it can be a result of needing to split the marking up between several independent markers. The most common approaches are double-blind marking, review or scrutineering, collaborative marking, whereby there's a peer-based discussion of marks, and social moderation of marking. Double-blind marking is probably the most common approach for multiple markers. It means that the same piece of work is marked or graded independently by two or sometimes more assessors. Typically, an average is made of their marks if they fall within an agreed range of each other. The benefits of this are that it is logically easy and provides two independent perspectives on the work. The problems centre around the innate variability of academic judgment. If there is no robust agreement of the marking criteria, then marks awarded by the two markers can vary considerably, sometimes even between a fail and a distinction mark. This is because the two assessors may not be applying the marking criteria in the same way as each other. Scrutineering, also known as a review or random sampling, is where a single assessor marks a set of assessment submissions. Then another individual reviews their marking to ensure they are complying to the marking criteria and are applying the marks consistently with other assessors on the assignment. The scrutineer or reviewer typically looks at a sample of assignments across a spread of marks. This is a useful process as it is more efficient and less workload than double-blind marking. Not all submissions are reviewed, only a sample. However, evidence shows that the scrutineer is much more likely to comply with the first assessor's judgment, even if they disagree with it slightly. There are issues of the impact of hierarchies and experience, as well as gender and ethnicity. If the main assessor is a more experienced colleague or one from a majority demographic, then there is more pressure on the scrutineer to agree with their assessment. Collaborative marking is a variation of double-blind marking. However, instead of the two assessors marking completely independently and each supplying a mark which is then averaged, in this process the two assessors grade the work independently but then meet up to discuss the mark for each criterion in the marking scheme. Theoretically, this reduces variation between markers as they have the opportunity to reach an agreed interpretation of the marking criteria. This approach is potentially fairer and leads to a more robust mark. However, it is very time-consuming and difficult to arrange logistically. Also, it's prone to the same hierarchy biases as scrutineering. Finally, social moderation is designed to proactively reduce marking bias. This is where a group of assessors all mark the same handful of submissions. They then meet to reach an agreed mark for these as a means to surface their interpretations of the marking criteria. They then each go and grade their remaining submissions, hopefully more aligned with each other in their marking and requiring less post hoc moderation of marks. As arguably the most robust method, it is worthwhile discussing social moderation in a bit more detail. One of the primary benefits of social moderation is its potential to reduce marking bias. Traditional assessment grading can be influenced by individual biases, leading to inconsistent and unfair evaluations. Social moderation introduces a layer of accountability by involving multiple assessors who can collectively make more objective judgments. This diversity in perspectives helps mitigate the impact of personal biases, promoting equitable grading. Social moderation fosters a sense of shared responsibility amongst educators and students, especially if students are involved. When students are actively engaged in the marking and grading processes, they gain a deeper understanding of assessment criteria and learning objectives. This involvement encourages self-assessment and reflection, empowering students to take ownership of their learning journey. Despite its merits, social moderation also presents certain challenges. Coordination and communication among assessors can be time-consuming and require effective planning. Educators must establish clear guidelines, expectations, and criteria to ensure consistency in marking or grading. To address this challenge, institutions must provide adequate training and support both to educators and students involved in social moderation. Critics argue that it may undermine the expertise of educators and lead to inconsistent evaluations. To address these concerns, it is essential to strike a balance between collaborative grading and maintaining the authority of educators. The integration of digital tools and platforms can streamline the social moderation process. Online platforms can facilitate discussions, enable real-time collaboration, and provide secure access to assessment materials. These technological advancements can make social moderation more efficient and scalable. The use of social moderation in assessment, marking, and grading in higher education is a good approach to enhance fairness, reproducibility, equity, and transparency. By involving discussion between multiple stakeholders in the grading process, it reduces bias, promotes shared responsibility, and improves feedback. However, it requires careful planning, training, and technology integration to overcome potential challenges and ensure its successful implementation.